and you're listening to The Sweep for the first time in a very long time. But that being said, I think it's pretty clear that the coronavirus epidemic has revealed major flaws in the organization of our society as well as the priority of our leaders. Shortages of basic health equipment as well as necessary components to create tests are the result of moving virtually all manufacturing capacity over to China in the name of efficiency. Nearly unprecedented levels of unemployment in the midst of a health crisis reveals the flaw of tying healthcare to employment instead of making it a government responsibility. And the willingness of Congress to provide $4.5 trillion to the richest and most profitable companies in the world, while throwing only scraps to the rest of us reveals what the populace knew all along. They don't really care about us. Even leaders of the left wing movement voted for the bill, which I believe seriously harms their credibility in the long run. As we face Great Depression levels of unemployment, the complete reversal of the post 2008 recovery, and a presidential contest between two senile, likely sexual miscreants, the sole silver lining is that reality has definitively endorsed the left project. As Spain enters talks about UBI, essential workers stateside have woken up demanding hazard pay, safer working conditions, and started engaging in strikes. So while the Sanders campaign has, tragically, for the second time, come to an end, it seems that this is only the beginning, and thank God for that. So with that, I open up the floor to you guys, and I ask, really, what's next? I have a few things that I think are pretty key moving forward, but I want to know where your heads are all at and what you guys are thinking about.
All right. Well, anyway, that neoliberal shill's name is Colin Townsend. I'm Nick Toledo, and
this is the most progressive king of here, Ali Haidar. Colin, going off what you're saying, I think what's next. And by the way, fun fact: Colin and Nick liked Pete Buttigieg back then. Nick liked Elizabeth Warren, the snake, who didn't endorse Bernie Sanders and who likely helped contribute to his fall during this.
I didn't like Pete Buttigieg. I liked Beto O'Rourke in 2018.
You donated how much money to Beto?
$500.
There we go.
We'll forgive you guys for now. You just because you guys are on this, we'll forgive.
Hey, I never donated to Buttigieg and his newly receding hairline.
All right, let's move on.
Okay, so I guess we'll come.
All right, so where do we go from here, and where do we go in the face of an economic depression? We're going into a general election in the Fed predicts 32% unemployment, which is roughly 10% more than the actual depression. And we're entering this election without an actual populist candidate that has any sort of economic policies that will lift us out of this at all whatsoever. So what do we do from here on out, guys?
Well, I say don't vote. I think that's honestly first and foremost.
I think vote at all? Should we be voting down ballot? What are you thinking here?
When I say don't vote, yeah, that is always shorthand for me for do not vote for president or else vote third party if your conscience aligns with a third party option. I haven't looked into too many myself yet. But yeah, I will always say vote down ballot for sure because all politics on some level is local. But the issue with voting for president, if our option on the Democratic side is Biden, is that if we do that, we legitimize a system that continually spits in our faces. And also, why do Democratic moderates get so sycophantic about the people in the center who are unaffiliated voters? It's because they can walk away anytime because they don't have any party allegiance. The fact that the left has no other option in mainstream politics besides the Democratic Party means that they can ignore us and then shame us into voting for them anyway, which means we have no leverage. So I cannot endorse really voting for Biden at all at this point in time.
Yeah, I'm not going to make any statements on that until I cool down a little bit.
But I guess I
need to see where I am in November, see how bad things are. I'm not sure right now. I don't think Biden stands much of a chance anyway. I'd be happy to be proven wrong if the DNC wants to try me on that.
So it's definitely a tough situation, but I think a good point that Colin makes is that as long as people on the left keep voting for the moderate candidate, the Overton window kind of keeps moving more to the right, in a sense, because that moderate candidate, Joe Biden, has a
Who's
right.
not a moderate. He's a conservative neoliberal.
I
Exactly.
agree. I was
To be
actually about
thrown
to
out
say
there.
maybe we should stop saying moderate.
No, he's a
Corporatist.
conservative neoliberal.
Let's say corporatist for short.
Yes, Warren was the moderate.
I
In reality,
I'm gonna take a
in
college.
reality, Bernie is a moderate. I mean, if things keep going the way they are right now, and in 4 years from now, someone's going to change their name to Little Mao X, and they're going to end up like winning the DSA nomination. And
That's my rap name.
Little Mao X.
Hell yeah.
Got that? What's your first album's name?
Straight out of the gulag.
I was going to say Long March to Freedom.
I'm not that clever.
I would argue, going back to the moderate, I'd argue that Bernie Sanders is the moderate, given that all the policies that he's kind of proposed throughout the campaign and before then, really most Democratic voters and actually most Americans support. And I think it's difficult because I'm kind of with Nick, where I don't want to vote for Joe Biden. And I'll be honest, I probably won't be voting for Joe Biden. I won't be voting for Trump. I'll probably be writing in Bernie Sanders at the ballot.
Anyway, yeah.
But
for me, guys. Colin Townsend, vote for me.
And the issue is, I kind of, one thing that really would make me, if we're all from Connecticut, so one thing that would really, make me vote is if I was in a swing state and looking at the Supreme Court, I want the court to stay blue, right? I don't want it to go, I don't want it to be conservative, right? Because then that would be an issue with the progressive movement for decades to come.
I just want to point out Biden
voted for Clarence
Thomas. Yeah, exactly. So, I don't really feel that Biden.
He also voted for Scalia. There was honestly, it was more acceptable to vote for Scalia than Clarence Thomas.
Yeah, so I just don't think that Biden, making the argument of the Supreme Court is a really strong one when it comes to why we should, pony up and vote.
I mean, the other thing is Biden's entire presidency is going to be his wife channeling the ghost of Edith Wilson, and whoever his VP is doing a Weekend at Bernie's style presidency.
And unfortunately named movie.
Propping, yeah. Well, no, it's not unfortunately named movie, because that's how we're going to run Bernie Sanders like Eugene Debs the next 30 years.
He's going to become our new Mike Gravel. But so no, I something else that I think is important to point out when it comes for why I will not vote for Biden no matter what, right? If you told me tomorrow that I will die if I don't vote for Biden, I still would not vote for Biden, because let's say we know he's going to choose a corporatist candidate like a Kamala Harris or something like that for his VP pick. So that's setting up, 4 years of Biden, maybe 8 years, really realistically 4, and then another 8 years of whoever his VP pick is, right? So why am I going to participate?
Kamala wouldn't take VP. She'd probably want state.
I mean, that's possible. I'm not getting into that here. My point here is just that I do not want to set up 12 years of another corporatist neoliberal regime. I'm not interested in that.
Yeah. All right, your full doomer attitude is really just killing me right now.
Sorry,
but it's appropriate. I'm doing everything I can not to fall into sort of some despair over this. You and I have both been sick for a couple of weeks, and we both start feeling better, and then this happens to punch us in the face.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that people are, they have a right to be really upset about. We have a lot of actual data that climate anxiety and depression are real things in millennials, some Gen Xers, definitely Gen Z. There are reports, people needing to go to therapy just to try and cope with the fact that all of this is coming and it's looming, and this neoliberal regressivism isn't going to get us anywhere.
For sure. And sorry, Ali, I'll keep this brief. I just want to say, I don't think that we should be getting too doomer. I'm saying that it's like scorched earth on the Democratic Party. I will not be voting for Biden, but I am not without hope, because like I said, there are strikes going on. I think we should be moving into general strikes and rent strikes. I think we should look forward to, in the future, pushing ranked choice voting very hard on every state level and trying to make that a thing so we could have viable third-party alternatives. While there are
canvass for Tom Steyer.
There you go. My real Polita-Bay. And then at the same time, we should still continue trying to put pressure on the Democratic Party because I see it as like a Malcolm X, Martin Luther King thing. If Malcolm X and, the Black Panther movement did not exist, Martin Luther King would have seemed like the biggest radical. But even though he was also, socialist, he seemed moderate, and they ended up working with him because their only other choice was more aggressive, right? So like I want to have, an inside outside game. Ollie, what do you think?
Well, I was going to say a little fact check. Biden actually didn't vote for Clarence Thomas. He actually voted no on Thomas, but he did vote yes on Scalia.
All right.
But
Thank you for that live action.
I mean, he defended Clarence Thomas very hard against Anita Hill, which is what I was getting at.
Absolutely.
It's horrible to
He set the path. He set the path for the confirmation of Clarence Thomas, but he didn't actually vote for him.
Yeah.
But he did.
No, that's why I didn't say that he did.
Regardless, doesn't make your point valid because one, he did vote for Scalia. Two, Biden is a conservative. But yeah, I mean, the whole, look, this is how I've always seen it. In a way, in a really, really, I guess if you look at this scope, it's a win-win for the progressive movement. Had Bernie won the nomination, he would have beaten Trump. We all know that. But since Biden is now the presumptive Democratic nominee, and we know that he's probably going to lose against Trump, Democrats are probably going to, blow themselves up. And that could lead an opportunity for the progressive movement to become even more entrenched. Then again, that could also
definitely join your local DSA. Make sure you're working with local candidates. If there isn't a local candidate that represents your issues, run for state senate or run for local Congress.
Exactly.
Lots of great successes in the movement and in this party. Although I did just find out that our local chapter of DSA is banned from Twitter, and I'm trying to get that story.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll see. I mean, I guess before, only because we are on a time limit right now, and then we'll start up the next session talking about other topics. In this post-Bernie era, how are you guys gonna vote for Biden? I guess we'll start with Colin, even though we've kind of already spoken about it. But at the end of this conversation, Colin, how are you gonna vote for Biden? Are you gonna vote?
I'm not going to.
Nick, are you gonna vote for Biden, or have you not made up your mind?
If I do, it'll be something that I do like very solitarily, and I don't think I have any. I don't have the energy, nor do I really know how to defend doing it. Not to defend doing it to someone, how to convince someone else. Because if someone looks at me and says, I don't want to vote for a rapist, I can't argue with that. That seems like a pretty good moral position to have. My reasons for doing it would probably be the courts, which is, again, it feels like I'm being held hostage, but it's important enough.
If it feels like it, it's because you are.
If it feels like what?
If it feels like you're being held hostage, that's because you are.
Yeah, I know. And look, hopefully we get some revolution because of coronavirus. I'll go to Central Park to deal with Tom Perez and Mira. But
yeah, I guess for me, I'm kind of skeptical, but I'm likely towards not voting for Biden, just writing in Bernie Sanders or voting a third party. Which, by the way, the Green Party candidate kind of has an interesting track record. He's kind of cool. Forgot his name, but definitely check him out. But in this post Bernie era, just know that the sweep is here. We're coming back strong.
Yeah, we got nothing else to do.
Exactly.